The opinions of others have a powerful influence on our self-esteem, self-confidence, and decisions, especially in a society where social acceptance is highly valued. However, this influence goes beyond the need to be accepted and can shape our identity, interfering with our goals and even the way we see ourselves. Our self-esteem is the perception we have of our own worth, and it is built through social interactions, especially during developmental periods such as childhood and adolescence. At these times, the opinions of important figures like parents, teachers, and friends help shape our view of ourselves. When people around us express positive opinions, like compliments or encouragement, our self-esteem tends to increase, reinforcing our confidence. On the other hand, constant criticism or negative comments can harm this view, leading to doubt, insecurity, and, in more severe cases, even low self-esteem and social anxiety. When we are strongly influenced by others' opinions, we tend to make choices that please others but may not be what we truly want. This dependence on others' approval makes us vulnerable as we start building our identity on unstable ground, external validation. And since others' opinions are variable and often change, this makes us even more susceptible to insecurity. Self-concept is the image we have of ourselves, including our abilities, characteristics, and personality. Social expectations, or the norms and standards set by society, can strongly influence our self-concept. Often, people feel pressured to follow certain careers, behaviors, and lifestyles to be accepted and respected. For instance, in some cultures, there is an expectation that success is measured by professional achievements, financial status, or academic background. These expectations can lead individuals to pursue goals that don't actually align with their personal interests or values. This influence is especially evident on social media, where we frequently compare our lives with those of others. The constant display of perfect lives makes us feel inadequate or undervalued. This impact is so significant that we often adjust our behavior and even our goals to gain society's acceptance. The need for social acceptance is a natural aspect of human beings. We are biologically programmed to seek group acceptance, as survival in ancient times depended on community protection and cooperation. However, in today's world, this desire for acceptance can lead to decisions that go against our true nature. For example, someone might choose a profession or a lifestyle solely because it is valued by their family or society, even if it means sacrificing their own happiness. This behavior is also reflected in the relentless pursuit of approval on digital platforms, where many strive to gain likes, shares, and positive comments. This digital validation can influence how we dress, what we share, and even what we believe, leading us to live a life based on others' approval rather than our own choices. To live authentically and achieve personal fulfillment, it is essential to learn to manage the influence of external opinions. This process requires self-awareness, reflection, and confidence in our own values and goals. First, it's important to recognize which opinions are truly relevant and which are based on social pressures or superficial expectations. Separating these two categories helps identify what truly matters to us. Cultivating self-esteem and self-concept is fundamental in this process. Developing self-compassion and learning to value our own achievements, regardless of external opinion, strengthens our ability to make decisions that genuinely reflect who we are. Practices like meditation, journaling, writing about thoughts and emotions, and connecting with people who share similar values can also help us break free from this dependency. Others' opinions can enrich our perspective, but caution is necessary to ensure they do not become the compass guiding our lives. When we allow social expectations to shape our self-esteem and decisions, we risk living a life that is not truly ours. Self-awareness and respect for our own values are essential for freeing ourselves from this influence. In the end, true satisfaction comes when we make authentic decisions based on our own desires and values, rather than constantly seeking others' approval. In the decision-making process, we often seek advice to guide us. However, not all advice comes with good intentions or offers real value. Sometimes, we receive genuine advice that helps us grow, while other times we encounter ill-intentioned suggestions that can undermine our confidence. Knowing how to distinguish between these types of advice is essential for staying on a positive and constructive path. Let's explore some techniques for identifying the intention and quality of advice, as well as understanding how to interpret others' intentions without making judgment errors. To differentiate helpful advice from ill-intentioned suggestions, the first step is to evaluate the quality and intent behind what's being said. Consider the following questions. 1. Does the advisor have knowledge or experience on the subject? Often, helpful advice comes from someone with deep understanding of the topic. Ill-intentioned suggestions, on the other hand, may come from those with little knowledge who still feel entitled to give opinions. 2. Is there a clear intent to support you? Helpful advice is often accompanied by an encouraging attitude where the person genuinely wants you to succeed. In contrast, ill-intentioned suggestions are frequently delivered with discouraging comments that undermine confidence or self-esteem. 3. Does the person respect your perspective? People who offer genuine advice listen to what you have to say, value your opinions, and respect your individuality. In contrast, ill-intentioned suggestions often ignore your perspective, showing little interest in understanding your position. If advice comes with respect, experience, and a desire to help, it's likely to be useful. On the other hand, if the intent seems to be to discourage or create doubt, it's a red flag. Nonverbal behavior is a powerful indicator of people's intentions. Often, body language, tone of voice, and facial expressions provide more information than words. Here are some techniques for interpreting these cues. 1. Observe the tone of voice. If someone uses a gentle and positive tone, there's a good chance their intentions are good. In contrast, tones of sarcasm, contempt, or superiority can indicate that the advice isn't genuine. 2. Pay attention to facial expressions and eye contact. People who genuinely want to help often maintain direct eye contact, showing empathy and attentiveness. If the person avoids eye contact or smiles ironically, they may be sending a discouraging message. 3. Analyze posture. Those truly committed to helping tend to have an open and welcoming posture. If the person appears uncomfortable or closed off, it might indicate an intention to discourage you. These tips are helpful for assessing an advisor's intentions and ensuring that you're receiving guidance from someone who genuinely wants the best for you. While it's important to analyze the intent behind advice, it's equally important not to make quick judgments. Some people may give advice more rigidly, but still with good intentions. To avoid misinterpreting others' intentions, follow these guidelines. 1. Allow space for dialogue. Before drawing conclusions about the intent of advice, try to understand the other person's perspective. Ask why they believe the advice is helpful, and if they can offer examples. 2. Avoid quick judgments. Not all criticism or challenging feedback is an attempt to discourage. Some people have a more direct communication style, but genuinely want to help. Therefore, try to consider the context and personality of the person before judging their intent. 3. Recognize your own feelings and insecurities. Sometimes, we may interpret advice as negative due to our own insecurities. If advice triggers a strong emotional reaction, reflect on your feelings before accusing the other person of trying to discourage you. An effective way to identify ill-intentioned advice is to observe patterns. People who genuinely want to help tend to offer consistent and balanced support. If you notice someone always criticizing your decisions or giving guidance that causes doubt, it might be time to question the value of that advice. Another technique is to see if the person is more focused on pointing out problems than offering solutions. Helpful advice usually comes with practical suggestions and encouragement to explore alternatives. Ill-intentioned suggestions, on the other hand, may make you feel stuck or at a dead end. Protect yourself from negative advice and value positive guidance. Distinguishing between helpful advice and ill-intentioned suggestions is a fundamental skill for anyone who wants to make decisions confidently. By evaluating the experience, intention, and behavior of the advisor, you can filter out valuable advice from that which won't bring benefits. Remember that, in the end, you have control over which advice you choose to follow. The ability to identify well-intentioned advice is a powerful tool for personal and professional growth, helping you stay focused on your goals without being shaken by those who don't have your best interests at heart. Apply these techniques and value people who are truly there to help, building a genuine and positive support network. We should avoid contact with envious people. Envy is a complex and often concealed human emotion that can manifest in various ways. If left unidentified and unaddressed, it can cause significant harm to our emotional well-being and even hinder our progress. Learning to recognize envy in our interactions, understanding its origins, and adopting strategies to handle it is essential for maintaining our inner peace and shielding ourselves from negative influences. One of the most common ways envy appears is disguised as constructive criticism. This occurs when someone, under the pretense of merely trying to help, begins to devalue or downplay our achievements and abilities, pointing out flaws that, in reality, are unfounded or irrelevant. Comments like, "I think you're trying too hard," "I don't see a future in what you're doing," or "I'm not sure if you have enough talent for this," are examples of criticisms that may be masked by envy. While genuine critiques can be valuable and necessary, when they come with a tone of constant discouragement and a focus on undermining our accomplishments, they are likely rooted in envy. It's not always easy to spot people who, out of envy, are trying to bring us down. However, Certain recurring behaviors can be clear signs. One sign is a lack of support or disguised disdain. These people often show little enthusiasm for our achievements and frequently try to downplay them. They may also act passive-aggressively, making jokes or sarcastic comments about our skills, ideas, or dreams. Another sign is the act of competing where there is no competition. In other words, these people try to outperform or undo what we do, even when there is no reason for it. Finally, the absence of encouragement is also a red flag. People genuinely interested in our success celebrate our victories, while envious individuals find ways to sabotage or weaken our self-esteem. Strategies to protect against envious and demotivating influences. Dealing with envy requires both self-awareness and the ability to keep our motivation intact. Some strategies that can help include: 1. Establishing healthy boundaries. Be firm about what you share regarding your achievements and plans with people you suspect may be envious. Sharing fewer details and avoiding discussions about your goals can reduce envy's influence on you. 2. Practice self-affirmation. Developing strong self-affirmation and confidence can serve as a shield against derogatory comments. If you are secure in your abilities and worth, you will be less influenced by criticisms or discouraging remarks. 3. Cultivate a positive circle of friendships **. The presence of sincere and supportive people around you helps create a positive and healthy environment where achievements are celebrated, not questioned. A genuine support network acts as an antidote to negativity. 4. Practice emotional intelligence. When we identify envy in others, it's important to learn not to retaliate or allow ourselves to be affected by it. Emotional intelligence enables us to handle envy with empathy while simultaneously preventing us from engaging with negative energy. Envy is an emotion that, while common, can have devastating effects if we don't recognize and manage it intelligently. Learning to identify its subtle manifestations and protect ourselves from negative influences allows us to continue our journey authentically and confidently. Strengthen your self-confidence and live according to your choices. Self-confidence is the foundation of a fulfilling and accomplished life. It allows us to make decisions with assurance, face challenges with courage, and stay true to our choices, even when the world around us tries to steer us off course. But how can we strengthen this confidence and shield our self-esteem from external criticism? In this text, we'll explore what self-confidence is, how successful people have cultivated it, and what you can do to build yours. Many of the world's most successful people faced criticism and doubt before they gained recognition. Steve Jobs, for example, was fired from his own company, Apple, in the 1980s, but he used that experience as a lesson. He returned years later, more confident and determined, and revolutionized technology. Walt Disney, another iconic example, was fired from a newspaper for a lack of imagination, but he didn't give up on his dream of creating a fantasy world. These figures learned to turn criticism into motivation, proving that self-confidence is essential for success. Here are strategies to strengthen your self-confidence. 1. Accept that you are unique. Recognize that no one has exactly the same skills, experiences, and talents as you. This helps reduce comparison with others, which often weakens self-confidence. 2. Develop skills and know your strengths. Investing in your knowledge and skills is a way to build a solid foundation of self-confidence. The more prepared you feel, the more confident you'll be in facing challenges. 3. Practice self-compassion. Mistakes are part of the growth process. When you make mistakes, be kind to yourself instead of being harsh. This is essential for maintaining self-esteem and moving forward with resilience. 4. Set goals and celebrate your victories. By setting realistic goals and celebrating each small achievement, you reinforce confidence in your potential. Reflect on your victories and remember that success is a path built with small steps. 5. Don't let external judgments limit you. Insecurities often come from other people's opinions. Learn to filter what truly matters and ignore destructive judgments. Trust your decisions and focus on what makes sense to you. Self-confidence is an ongoing exercise and requires daily practice. Everyone faces moments of doubt and challenges, but it's possible to build a solid foundation of self-confidence to guide your choices. When you strengthen yourself internally, you're better prepared to withstand criticism and judgment. The secret to living according to your choices lies in deeply believing in your worth and potential, regardless of external opinions. You don't need approval to follow your dreams. Why seeking external approval can harm your progress. Often, we feel a deep need for approval and validation from others before making important life decisions, especially when it comes to pursuing our dreams. However, the search for external approval can limit our progress and pull us away from who we truly are. Let's explore why this search is harmful, how to handle the need for validation and criticism, and how to move forward without depending on others' acceptance. External approval is often an invisible prison. When we base our dreams and decisions on others' acceptance, we start living by their expectations, which can stifle our true potential. The need to please makes us abandon our plans or, at the very least, shape them to satisfy those around us, whether family, friends, or colleagues. This leads us to adopt a version of ourselves that may not be authentic. The pursuit of approval also creates a fear of judgment, which can paralyze us. This fear prevents us from exploring new possibilities and even from failing, something essential for growth. Ironically, while we try to please everyone, we end up losing the most important person in our lives, ourselves. The need for validation is natural, but to follow our own paths, we must learn to control this desire. One way to do this is to realize that others' opinions reflect more about their own experiences and beliefs than reality. Criticism, while it can be useful, should not determine how we view our goals. Accepting that people will always have something to say, whether positive or negative, is the first step to freedom. When someone criticizes your dreams, ask yourself if the opinion is constructive and if it adds value to your journey. Many times, negative opinions come from people who are afraid to take risks and project their insecurities onto others. Recognizing this makes it easier to dismiss criticism that doesn't add anything positive. A helpful exercise is to ask, if I were the only person in the world, would I still pursue this dream? If the answer is yes, then others' opinions lose their weight, and your motivation becomes an internal source, much more powerful and lasting. By deciding to follow your dreams without waiting for approval, you take full responsibility for your own destiny. This is the path to genuine and fulfilling progress. Learning to trust yourself is essential for developing a sense of security that doesn't depend on external approval. For this, practicing self-awareness is crucial. When we know who we are and what we want, it becomes easier to ignore outside voices and focus on what truly matters. A powerful strategy is to set goals and track your accomplishments. By documenting every small step, you'll have proof of your growth, reinforcing that the most important thing is the journey you're building, not others' opinions. These records, even if just simple notes, become a source of encouragement in moments of doubt. Additionally, by moving forward without waiting for support, you make room for people who truly share your vision to come into your life. Often, those who initially doubt your dreams start to respect and even support your journey when they see your commitment. But even if that doesn't happen, you'll be fine because you're moving forward on your own without relying on others' acceptance. When you stop seeking others' approval, you discover the power of freedom and authenticity. Living according to your own convictions brings a sense of peace and fulfillment that no one can take away. Following your dreams, despite criticism, becomes a testament to self-love and courage. As you choose your path, remember, the most important approval you can have is your own. When you trust in your abilities, you realize you don't need anyone else's validation to achieve what you desire. After all, the greatest dreams are those that, regardless of external opinions, deeply resonate within our souls. Finding inspiration in stories of overcoming challenges is one of the most effective ways to stay motivated and focused on your own obstacles. When we see someone who has faced seemingly insurmountable hurdles, we feel empowered to conquer our own struggles. This type of inspiration not only motivates us, but also shows us that we can go beyond our own limits, regardless of the size of the adversity. Throughout history, countless people have achieved what seemed impossible. Think of figures like Helen Keller, who overcame deafness and blindness to become a renowned writer and speaker, or Nelson Mandela, who spent 27 years in prison and still kept faith in freedom and equality. These stories are so powerful because they remind us that limitations exist, but can also be overcome. Stories of triumph show us that adversity doesn't have to be the end. They remind us that despite hardships, we can find a way out and transform our reality. Every time we read or hear about someone who faced challenges and emerged victorious, we are reminded that difficulties are part of the journey, not a final barrier. When facing specific challenges, seeking inspiration from someone who overcame similar barriers is a powerful motivator. The relatability of the experiences makes others' triumphs feel more tangible. If you have a seemingly unreachable dream or feel trapped by an insurmountable situation, seeing someone accomplish something similar makes your own difficulties feel more manageable. Looking to those who have overcome similar obstacles can also help us identify practical strategies for dealing with our own challenges. When someone shares the difficulties they faced and the methods they used to overcome them, it provides us with a realistic guide on what can be effective. However, this doesn't mean copying someone's exact steps. It means learning from their lessons and adapting them to our reality. Modern life bombards us with distractions and daily challenges. During these times, stories of resilience help us remember why we started and recharge our motivation. One of the best examples of how these stories help us stay focused is looking at elite athletes. Many athletes endure injuries, criticism, and years of intense training before reaching the peak of their careers. Their stories teach us the importance of resilience and keeping our eyes on the goal, even when difficulties pile up. Establishing a routine that includes reading biographies or watching documentaries about people you admire is a practical way to stay focused. Additionally, it's important to remember that focus is not an innate skill. It is cultivated, and stories of overcoming challenges help us train this ability. They serve as an emotional anchor, reminding us that obstacles are just steps along the path. While you draw inspiration from other stories, remember that you are also building your own narrative. The challenges you face today may one day serve as inspiration for others. Each time you overcome a hardship, you are adding a new page to your book of resilience. To build this story, it's essential to learn how to handle the highs and lows. By looking at those who overcame similar obstacles, you realize that the journey is rarely linear. There are moments of doubt, mistakes, and setbacks, but there is also learning, growth, and, ultimately, triumph. Knowing this prepares us to face challenges with more resilience and less fear. When we draw inspiration from great stories of resilience, we might fall into the trap of thinking these people are perfect. But it's crucial to remember that no one is free from flaws and moments of weakness. True resilience doesn't mean never making mistakes. It means learning and moving forward, even after stumbles. When we look up to those who overcame obstacles, we need a realistic view. Success is the result of many errors and adjustments along the way. Drawing inspiration from stories of resilience and looking up to those who overcame similar challenges are powerful tools for staying motivated and focused. They show us that limitations can be conquered and that failure is not the end of the journey. More importantly, they help us build resilience and see our challenges as steps towards something greater. By applying others' examples to our own lives, we begin to build a story that might one day inspire others. In doing so, we not only overcome, but also encourage others to do the same. Trust in God and faith as your guide. Faith helps us stay focused and ignore opinions. Trusting in God and seeking approval only from Him will direct our steps, strengthening us spiritually to handle obstacles and criticism, allowing us to follow our path securely toward victory.